Hi, good afternoon. It's Charlene, and I'm here to talk about the hiring process and how I got hired as a teacher here in Laos. Okay, so I guess this is a bit more for Filipinos. By the way, I'm Filipino Chinese. So let's start with how I found schools here. So here in Laos, um, we have very few schools given that the country is small. The population is around 7 million people. So you will have to do the Google search. You can type in international schools in Laos. So I will just provide you with a key phrase for this. And so for Filipinos wanting to go here, obviously it's pandemic right now. You can do your Google search and then email the schools. The websites here are not reliable. If once normal travel resumes, you can also do walk-in. So they still accept that. Technologically wise, they're not that advanced compared uh, to the Philippines or to Thailand. But email is acceptable because they don't really have a lot of schools here. So we don't have job boards like ajan.com in Thailand or tilit.com like in Taiwan. Okay. So if you're coming from the Philippines, here are some requirements to prepare so that you can get hired here. If you wish to teach here, you can get hired. So how did I how did I end up in Laos? So prior to this, as I mentioned, I was teaching in Thailand for 1 year. That was in academic year of 2017-2018, and then I came here 2019. But back then, I was already looking for schools for other opportunities in Laos, and 2019 was the time that I came here. So let's start. Okay, so again, you will email, and you'll have to wait and see if somebody replies. So usually, a lot of Filipino teachers are hired by the local international schools as English teachers, primary school teachers, subject specialists, math, sciences, PE, art. So first of all, if you're coming from the Philippines, you want to make sure that you get your degree um, authenticated by uh, by the CHED and DFA. So kailangan nyo ng red ribbon. And usually, in my case, I was able to do this with my school. So you can ask your universities and colleges for this. Um, So it will, believe me, it might be more expensive, but it's a lot more convenient rather than uh, going for a trip in your school and then going for for another trip for uh, for DFA. So what happened was I ordered this in my school and then they forwarded it. I paid for that and then they forwarded to DFA, and then when I came to when I came to DFA, I just paid for the for the fees, and I just claimed it. So that's a lot faster than doing several trips. Okay. So other than that, you will need to have your NBI clearance. So this is expired already. Again, DFA. So you can do your NBI online, have it sent to you by mail, and then from there you can again send it to DFA and come back the next day or so. I would prefer the express, although it's twice as expensive, but I feel like at least you're not wasting time by waiting for it for several days. And then after your authentication by CHED, by DFA, NBI, DFA. Now, let's say you already came here and I did a teaching demo for some of my friends. They were referred by their friends who are here. So medyo marami kong ganun dito, yung parang kamag-anak system, ah, ni-refer nila yung kapatid nila, yung in-law nila. So, so kung may kakilala kayo, it's better. And then also, but for me, I didn't have any of those connections. So I did it on my own. I came here for 5 days. That was in May 2019, and then I did a demo, and then I waited for like 3 days. So I was here for a total of, I guess, 4 days. And then after that, I returned in August. So, yeah. And once you sign a contract, so you will, uh, once you sign a contract, so in my case, August 2019, I signed the contract. I attended a 2 week orientation, and ang kagandahan lang is they paid for, although we only came in for 2 weeks in August, kasi September yung start ng local international schools dito, is that we were paid for the whole month. Okay? So, once you sign a contract, yan, yung ganyan, make sure that you get it authenticated by the Philippine Embassy. Now, the authentication by the Philippine Embassy is $25. So I don't know if the fee has risen, but why do you need it? Some of you may think, oh, $25 sayang din yun. But the thing is, first of all, it offers you protection. So whether magamit niya yan or hindi, it will serve its purpose. The immediate one is obviously protection from for both parties. So obviously Philippine Embassy would know if in case of emergency that you're where to find you. So in this case, they know that okay, you're hired by this school. Second purpose of having your contract authenticated is that in case of any dispute based on the contract, let's say you had a breach or your employer breached the contract, you can ask the help of the embassy so that they can investigate. It didn't happen to me, pero nangyari na rin siya dun sa isang kasama ko sa school. So if that's the case, at least natatakot ho ang mga schools na mabalitaan na may ganyan silang may ganyan nangyayari na, for example, hindi nila sinunod yung nakalagay sa kontrata, natatakot sila na i-report nyo sila sa embassy. So what happened to that colleague, actually hindi kami talaga colleague kasi I came in like a few days after he was fired. Pero magaling talaga yung teacher na yan. And ako naman, I voluntarily left kasi may breach of contract din. And I just found it useless to Pero in his case, I understood why he filed for it. So, what happened was, the school breached the contract. They signed, obviously, both parties signed the contract, agreed on the salary, and then hindi nasunod. Hindi nasunod yung contract. They didn't talk to him. They just told him that he will be fired. So, di ba? Bakit ganun? So, matalino tong tao to, pumunta ng embassy, tsaka, yun. So, nag-investigate si embassy. So, what happened was, by firing him, the school thought that they were going to save money by hiring, a cheaper teacher. But it ends up that it was more costly because by telling the embassy had to visit them, launch an investigation, and they ended up having to pay him 6 weeks worth of salary na hindi naman siya pumasok, 'di ba? Sana kung tinapos mo na lang, because in the contract naman it says that either party terminate the contract as long as they give 30 days notice. Diba? Pwede naman see? So it's logical lang. And thirdly, aside from that, no, protection yung protection nyo is that the third one is if in any case, like for example, after a certain time, you decide to move back to the Philippines or teach in another country, at least this shows that you were really hired, that you really worked abroad. So, may pagagamitin yan for your future employer, for tax purposes. Pwede nyong ipakita yan na totoong nagtrabaho nga kayo dun for 1 school year. Okay? So, at least that will be really clear on both ends. I guess that will be this will sorry this will be the end of our discussion. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch on the comment section. I'll be leaving my Facebook and Instagram downstairs. Sorry, on the link below. So thank you so much for hearing me, and I hope that I've enlightened you. And that's it. Thank you. Bye bye. So something.